Hello, I'm Alice Combs. I wrote the book, The Lady with Balls, A Single Mother's Triumphant Battle in a Man's World. I wrote about founding my business, Vulcan Wire, Incorporated, which sells $10 million annually of industrial baler wire, which is used for recycling many used items. And people wonder, how did I ever get into this wire business? Well, my book explains it, and I can explain that further as I talk. But it is unusual, you have to admit, for today, and it was even more unusual when I started my business in 1975. I decided I should work on my own, and I finally discovered a product that people needed, which is the industrial baler wire that I sell. Well, my father's reaction was pretty negative because he'd been in business for himself and it didn't last very long. And most businesses don't last very long. Some of my friends thought, when are you going to get a job? They thought I was just playing around because I worked out of my home. What motivated me was when I went around asking various companies, what do you need that you can't get? One man said, honey, I need baler wire. Even the farmers can't get it. My first customer, I'll never forget him. I wish I could contact him, but I've tried and haven't been able to. He was a very forgiving man. He was a character. Fortunately, he gave me a second chance because the first wire I sold him didn't work. It broke. And then he said, I think you should get some samples and have them tested. So I did. So that led to a big lesson I learned. Know your product. Well, I believe there are many women right now who want to have their own business. And I'll bet there are even more because of COVID-19, because I'll bet there are a lot of you who may no longer have jobs. You might start out thinking, what in the here and now do people need? Or at least would people want? And it could be something that would just make their life more fun or easier. So that would be a start. And I was blessed with actually asking people, what do you need that you can't get? I'm not so sure that would work so much unless you did it on a website. But now things are different. We have the computer, and I had yellow pages. So what a contrast. I had two situations. The very first one was so early on in my business, and that was that my business was growing so exponentially that I could have been bankrupted. My business could have imploded because I had to buy the products before I sold them. I had to buy a product, then I had to give it to a manufacturer, then I had to deliver it in a truck. Well, to buy the wire was a 2-week wait, and then to get it manufactured was possibly another 2-week wait. So you might say, I had to buy my product 30 days before I actually sold it. Well, everybody deals on credit. So I had to pay for these products before I was paid. And therefore, the more business I got, the more behind I got with cash. And you might look at the graph and you'll see what I mean. I really learned that I should have had more money to start my business up. And in my book, I explain all the pitfalls that I came up with money. I would have understood management. I would have understood delegation better. I would have understood that I should not sell so quickly unless I had the money to back myself up. As I was building up my business, people were very curious. What was I doing, working out of my home so much, and then finally into an office? I really got tired of being asked all these questions about this strange situation of me being a woman selling something so unfeminine, which was very unusual in those days. And we're talking 1975. So I actually started thinking about writing a book probably in 1978, just 3 years later. And I would sit down and I'd start to write. I wouldn't even start to write, in fact. I would get writer's block, didn't know where to begin. But eventually, as I got older and I became semi-retired, and someone else took over as president and CEO, and then as vice president of finance, I finally had some time to write my book. And I took writing lessons and worked and worked and worked, and finally I came up with this book. I would say the heart of my book is perseverance. If you want to have a profitable business that will last a long time, as mine has. I've had many, many pitfalls, so I've made many mistakes, and I've had some things happen to me that I can honestly say weren't really that much my fault. But I would pick myself up and think, how do I surmount this problem, and finally figure it out and keep on going. So perseverance is the biggest quality I think anyone needs to have to keep a business going. Hope to see you later. Bye-bye.